Death doesn't hide here. The closer we got to his room, the stronger the smell that permeated the air. Death didn't hide here. His door was propped open, and the curtain around the bed was pulled back. Upon entering, I suddenly stood face to face with a frail, frighteningly thin old man with mottled but translucent-looking skin. He coughed once, a tiny cough, an infant's cough, before his eyes froze on me. His lips tried to form a crooked smile as he lifted a dirt-encrusted, ragged nail at me. With acknowledgement, he wove it sluggishly in the air. When he tried to smile, I saw a mouth full of rotted teeth, and I knew I must be in the wrong room. Oh, goodness, I entered the wrong room. My dad took impeccable care of himself. It seemed this shadow of a man wanted to speak to me, but his mouth was dry and his breath was too gruff to understand. I didn't know this pitiable man. "Oh, I'm terribly sorry," I swallowed. "I have the wrong room." I turned on my feet and swiftly left. Outside, I looked up at the small numbers on the door, then at the tile floor, then back at the numbers again. I had the right room. Christopher and I exchanged a troubled glance. I must have gotten them wrong. I went back to the receptionist, but she confirmed that the delicate, elderly-looking man was indeed my 54-year-old father. My mind flashed to being at the airport as a tweenie. My dad walked right past me because I had grown so much that he didn't recognize me. Right now, I didn't recognize him. I closed my eyes as Chris pulled me into an extended, consoling hug. Can I really handle this? God, please be with us. Driving a dying man from one state to another was as nerve-wracking as trying to watch an infant walk a tightrope. Christopher, my brother-in-law, Dad's beloved sister, and myself had my father's life in our hands. We were all terrified because he was so fragile, literally breakable. I was no doctor, and not a qualified nurse, but I was desperate to save his life. Halfway through the drive, Dad's oxygen ran out. Not only was the air getting thinner, and he was starting to have difficulty breathing, but I was fumbling in fear. I began to doubt myself. How can I rescue him when I can't even regulate his oxygen? I shook like a leaf until I had the replacement flowing. It was too late to turn back now. I refused to give up or allow fear to overcome me. Nothing will stop us. All of a sudden, the RV started to spit and jump. It was obviously breaking down. It was stifling hot, and a water hose had burst. The camper slowly crawled to a stop. We were stuck on the side of the road, in the middle of Timbuktu. The four of us looked at one another with differing versions of dread and horror on our faces. What are we going to do now? Dad was extremely susceptible to heat, so I instantly started working at keeping him cool. Fanning him and packing ice would only last so long. We were stuck outside of the city, and it was approaching 5:00 p.m. We knew car parts stores would be closing soon. Christopher, Keith, get the part. I'll stay here with Dad. I made the decision, and both men were gone in seconds. Christopher would be working on the engine he had never seen before. He was under enormous stress. I kissed him goodbye. His nervousness had tightened his lips. We can do this. I was reassuring both of us. I questioned my own daring stunt of trying to save my dying father.